So you figured out your calorie and protein targets, but you've been finding it difficult to hit them on a daily basis. To help you shred up for the summer and transform that skinny fat body into something a lot more lean and jacked looking. So here's a super simple breakdown method that I use with my own clients to help them go from skinny fat to lean, jacked and back in shape, so they can hit their nutrition targets every day like clockwork, even when they aren't following their perfect little meal plan and they need to grab something on the go. So follow this process, I guarantee you'll be shredding the pounds off every single week, without breaking a sweat, without more restrictions, more misery, all that stuff. So here it is. Right, let's assume that you have actually successfully calculated your calorie and protein targets accurately. The issue a lot of guys have is that they kind of just leave it there. They don't break it down any further and they just sort of wing it every single day and hope by the end of the day, when they're tracking it on something like MyFitnessPal, they get to that magic calorie and protein target. Either that, or they set themselves up on a really strict, specific macro meal plan that they have to hit perfectly every single day, and if they don't, if they drift from that plan, then you kind of fucked. You don't really know what you're doing. So let me first make the point that you don't actually have to hit a very specific calorie and protein target. It doesn't have to be to the calorie and to the gram of protein. In order to shred up on a weekly basis, you only really have to be in a range. So let's say as a daily average, you're burning, just to make it easy, 2,500 calories a day. So in order to shred up consistently and see that weekly progress that you want to see, you need to be in a range of somewhere between like 1,600 and 2,000 calories. Typically anywhere in between 500 and 1,000 calorie deficit is something that is manageable for a lot of people, unless you're burning a very low amount of calories. Somewhere between 500 and 1,000 is gonna get you seeing a weekly change of between 1 and 2 pounds a week. Then you just got to come up with a realistic range that you are able to stick in comfortably. Might make you feel a little bit hungry, but it's not going to make you tear your hair out. It's not going to make you miserable. So in this instance, 2,500 maintenance, so somewhere between 1,600 and 2,000. Okay, so 1,800 is slap bang in the middle. That's probably the target that you set yourself, 1,800 calories, and let's say 140 grams of protein. Easiest thing to do is to break it down further into individual meal targets. Especially in your weekday routine, you know, you're going to be quite stable with specific sort of working hours. You know, a lot of guys work like 9 to 5, for example. Not everyone, but you're going to have some kind of stability on your working days, which is usually Monday to Friday. So with that, you can build out kind of a consistent meal plan routine. At 1,800 calories, you can break down into a typical pattern that you might have. This is the process that we use. Basically, first week of my clients' coaching, we do an assessment week and I look at what their actual food tracking looks like, what their meal habits look like, if they have big meals, if they have small meals, if they eat twice a day, 3 times a day, 4 times a day, if they have snacks, no snacks. You need to sort of monitor that for yourself. Let's say, just to make things super simple in this example, that you don't have snacks and you just have breakfast, lunch, dinner. Well, then you can break that 1,800 calorie target down into 3 meals. If you're going to do it evenly, obviously that will be 600 calories a meal, but most guys don't have exactly the same size meal for breakfast, lunch and dinner. So then you would look at your own food habits and preferences and what your appetite is like throughout the day. So typically guys would have like a small breakfast, a medium lunch and a large dinner. That 600, 600, 600 is probably going to turn into something a little bit more like 400 calories for breakfast, 600 for lunch and an 800 for dinner. It seems really obvious, but most guys don't give themselves individual meal targets. But when you do this, when you look at what your existing habits, your existing appetite is like, it's so much easier then to hit your daily target when you break it down individually like this. Like if you've been tracking in that first week and you would have came up with these individual calorie targets based on what you would have already been tracking, what your already existing habits are like. So you know that those sort of calories amounts, those meal sizes are gonna fit your daily routine quite well. So then going back to the fact that you only need to be in a range, 1,600 to 2,000 in this example, we broke down 1,800 calories. So then all you need to do is, right, breakfast, it doesn't have to be exactly 400 calories. It can be between 300 and 500. Lunch, it can be between 500 and 700, 600 in the middle. Dinner can be between 700 and 900 calories. So suddenly you've got yourself a little bit more of a flexible range to play with in your meal plan. So once you do that, and you do exactly the same for protein as well. So if we've got 140 grams of protein, we need to break that down into 3 meals, but giving yourself minimum targets for each meal depending on the size of the meal as well. Then once you've got those specific meal breakdowns with your calorie and protein, then you can come up with however many ideas for each meal you need. Typically, most guys have the same shit for breakfast every day during the week, so maybe you only need 1 breakfast idea. And then you can come up with 2 if you wanted to. Like maybe you have got one breakfast idea that's between 300 and 500 calories, hitting 30 grams of protein that you make at home. Maybe some mornings you don't have time to make breakfast at home and you need something out on the go. Maybe you have a quick grab in a certain shop on your way to work. Then all you got to do is see what they have and match the breakfast item, breakfast option from that particular shop or whatever. Even if it's something where you have to go out to like Starbucks or fucking McDonald's or wherever, you could find the option, the breakfast option, that is between 300 and 500 calories and is hopefully pushing 30 grams of protein. And you do exactly the same for lunch and exactly the same for dinner. And you would make it match up with your routine, what you have access to, the shops that you go to, or home cooked options that you take with you for lunch, for example, or out on the go options. As long as you've got that meal calorie and protein range and target in your mind, you can then come up with those options. It doesn't need to be thousands of options. It can be 1, 2, 3 options that you can sort of rotate throughout the week. So then you have a bit of a plan involved. You're no longer winging it at the start of each day thinking, oh, I've got to hit 1800 calories, I've got 130, 140 grams of protein. All right, best of luck, let's see how I do. You can look at your day, you could be like, right, well, I don't have time to have breakfast today, but I know that I'm gonna go out and I'm going to drive on the way to work, I'm gonna hit this place and I can have this option. This day at lunch, I know I can do my home prepped lunch or my extra side of dinner, which was this amount of calories that I can take with me to lunch, which I know is going to hit my lunch target. And then on the next day, I'm out and about. I'm not going to have time to bring a homemade lunch with me that day. So therefore, I'm going to be having this option from this particular shop. What you've got to do is come up with the options, make sure that they roughly hit the range of the calorie range that you need to be in and hitting the protein amount. And then you just got to fucking rinse and repeat. If you get bored of a particular meal idea, remove it, come up with something else. Thing is, most guys, when you're not on a diet, when you're not following this whole fitness journey, and you just go back to your old crappy habits, you end up having pretty much the same shit every day during your week anyway. It's just not potentially good options. So this way, you're probably gonna have more variety, to be honest with you. It's gonna be better sources of food, typically, a little bit healthier for you usually if you come up with these ideas, and it's going to be hitting your calorie and protein targets, probably filling you up more, probably easier to manage. It just takes 10% organization at the beginning of your week. Suddenly, Monday to Friday, you're magically hitting your calorie and protein targets, the range that you need to be in, very consistently, very easy, like clockwork. And then all you need to manage is your sort of flexibility weekend calories, which we tend to be off plan a little bit more. You just need to manage that and track that a little bit more vigilantly on the weekends. Knowing that your weekday routine is absolutely nailed, you've broken down your targets successfully, and it's easy. Anyway, that's the process that I go through with my clients on my one-to-one program. We build things out together, you know, we're back and forth on WhatsApp, and we come up with your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner ideas based on you, your preferences, your appetite, your habits, based on that initial assessment week, and we build it out together. Hope you found this video useful. Like, subscribe if you're not already. I'll leave some links in the description of this video if you want to learn a little bit more about my one-to-one program and how that works, and also a free program which I have for you to sink your teeth into, see how my coaching works for free at the beginning. Questions which you might have, comment below. Any insight, if you want to troll me, go for it, whatever. And I'll catch you in the next video.